We're not gonna fight Noodle. I'm gonna try to communicate with Noodle. Well, I mean, we'll try to fight Noodle, but we're gonna get owned in Atmosphere. I could almost guarantee he's in something that's gonna kick our ass.
They went flying at me. Oh, hello. There's somebody sneaky around. Yep, there they are.
Oh, come on, Noodle. Don't do this to me, bro. Don't do this to me, Noodle. I stuck up for you.
An Avenger. We were literally talking about the Avengers earlier.
No!
Oh, he jumped.
Oh. God damn it, Noodle.
Oh, that was Berks. My bad.
This is the Jesus patch, right? This is the thing that we've all been waiting for, and they're not going to let us down.
Hello?
Hello? Dude, you scared the fuck out of me when you started shooting me in the atmosphere.
I had no idea it was you, dude.
Oh man, I was hoping you had global on. I said, Moist Noodle, don't shoot. I'm coming in. I'm a big fan.
It's all good. It's brave to go down there in an Avenger, dude.
Oh yeah, well, we're in a stalker. You know, I'm doing a little Garmin humble thing.
It literally like an hour ago on stream, I was talking about the Avenger series because they need some love, dude. They're so squishy.
Yeah, true. True. I think that CIG is really bad about balancing ships for their cross section, though, right? Like,
For
Saber's
sure.
a good example of that too.
Well,
It's like, yeah.
I think the big issue, like it's the same issue as the 300 series. They rebuilt the ships, right? They made both the 300 series and the Avenger bigger, but then they kept the same amount of hit points. So they're easier to hit, and they're super squishy.
Right. And then, that just happens with the Saber as well, because it's just always been a pancake. But it used to be okay when it had the 3 shields and the shield generation was good, right? But
Dude,
know,
the
it's just
Warlock...
It feels like its HP needs to double.
The Warlock used to be terrifying, dude. I went up against one yesterday and it like died instantly.
Yeah, they just like, if you can get... I mean, I'm pretty sure you could one-mag me if like you hit all your shots. Now, to be fair, I've got distortion on, so... And the, unlikely event I hit all my shots on an arrow, I think I might be able to survive, but
Have you got distortion on the wings
like,
and then what is it, a rhino on the nose?
Yeah. Well, it's not a rhino because I was lazy and didn't swap it out. It's a panther. But,
fair.
yeah, basically, if you don't know, size 2 distortion does the same damage as size 3, so I basically have 3 size 3.
That's crazy, dude. That's sick.
Dude, it's part of the reason why the F8C is so strong, is because if you put 6 size 2 distortions, you basically have 8 size 3s.
Dude, I love running the Mantis as a group because on the Mantis, I run Sucker Punches, and they will turn off like any size 1, size 2 ship pretty much instantly. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's not so good if you're on your own, though, because trying to chew through the shields on like an F8 is exhausting with Sucker Punches. But if you have somebody else to chew through the shields for you and you're third partying, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's... Who knows, right? Like, I have a feeling that everything feels so stagnant right now because they just don't want to make any big changes before master modes, but...
Honestly,
I think the flight model right now is good. Like, I think it's good aside from top speeds and acceleration and stuff. Like,
well,
I like the geometry at the moment.
Even then, I think, like, the top speed fighting stuff, I think the majority of the issue is server side, right? Like, the horrible desync that you get at high speeds. Like, a lot of people will naturally just go to, like, when you're somebody who knife fights, right? And you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, the person on the defense tends to get up to top speed pretty quick, right? And that's where it gets dicey because then you can't maneuver for shit at high speed. I know it's difficult. I think when it comes to the Avenger series and the 300 series, if they just gave them some extra hit points so they didn't die instantly, I think that's really all they need to do.
Too, right?
Oh, dude, I forget about the Reliant. I used to love flying around in the Tana, dude. That shit was so much fun.
Yeah, and then the 310 came around and they changed some stuff, and then it started like dying in like 2 hits because it's like engine would like pop out, right?
Yeah, I kind of feel like with the Reliant series, it's kind of similar with the Saber as well, because you're right, both those ships are kind of pancakes. However, because of the firepower that they have, if you're super aggressive in a 1v1, you can kind of obviously if you're going against somebody equally skilled who's in a meta ship, you're going to struggle, right? But if you can use your firepower to push them off you, then you can do okay, right?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I mean, I think that in Atmosphere, Arrow is probably the best at the moment, light fighter wise, right? Or maybe the Saber, dude. I don't know.
So
Saber's really good.
So many F8 pilots haven't worked out yet that the Arrow is quicker than them in Atmo. So they try to run away, and you literally just sat behind them in the Arrow. It's crazy.
Is it pretty easy to get on top of them in Atmosphere?
It depends how good their aim is. If their aim is good, it's hard. But if you
because
if
as far as I know, well, you can back up pretty well on the F8 in Atmosphere, right? Like, it doesn't have a lot of restriction. So I guess it just depends if people figure that out, right?
Yeah,
this is what I was trying to say. Like, people who are saying the F8 sees, I don't know how you feel about this, in a good place. I just feel like most of those tests are being done honorably, where people aren't backstrafing a lot.
My issue originally with the F8 was the top speed, and I still have an issue with the top speed. I think it needs to come down just a little bit, because
what is it now?
It's still like 1300, and it's faster than the Mantis and the Cutlass Blue.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's crazy, but
it's still 1337.
It's still faster than the Mantis. I had somebody outrun me yesterday.
Yeah, maybe they're just not trying to do it right now. I don't know, because they said that was unintentional on Spectrum, the 1337.
Oh really? Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. But with
they confirmed.
With the shield change, it's so much better to fight them now because it was exhausting before. Like,
I'm sure.
I actually don't fly the Arrow that much these days. I'm mostly flying the Aurora MR. So, like yesterday, on stream, right, I was flying the Aurora MR. I had 2 guys in F8s come at me, and they both ran away. But it's so much easier to fight F8s now with the split shield. Before it was,
yeah, I'm sure,
because before, right, I'd be in the Aurora and I'd be shooting and shooting and shooting. I'd be fighting an F8 for like 5 minutes, and the moment their shield started to get low, they would just immediately boost away, and there's nothing. Even if I was in the Arrow, there'd be nothing I could do about it. They'd just recharge the shields and then come back.
Yeah,
it's just awful.
If it's I personally think that it probably needs just a tiny little pitch and yaw nerf. And then I think that it needs the top speed to come down, and then I think it's probably good.
I actually feel different, dude. I actually think its rotation is too slow, because once you're over the F8, there's absolutely nothing they can do. It just seems
even in space.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, it just feels like they turn way too slow. I would be much happier if they actually sped up the rotation and then brought down that top speed and maybe brought down the acceleration. I don't know.
It's interesting you say that, just because I don't know. I feel like I really struggle to get on top of F8Cs, even if they're not like insanely good pilots, and even like an Arrow.
Oh really?
I push hard, dude.
What type of pilot? Like, do you do S turns or anything like that?
I do S turns, but bro, here, I mean, I can show you. Like, the main thing I do is like I wrap around people, or I try to, right?
Okay.
So I'm always trying to like get underneath someone. So, or not necessarily underneath, but like how I would do it is like, like I would try to just close the distance as much as possible, make it a turn fight as much as possible. Because typically people aren't really good at turn fighting. So it's just better aim wins at that point.
Yeah, what I tend to do is I tend to do S turns on the approach, and I always try to be like 90 degrees to the side. as I'm getting close to them, and then I try and get over the top of them. And once you're, you know, once you know that you're off their nose, there's other than backing up and trying to run away from you, there's not much they can do. Just the thing turns so slow, man. It's crazy.
I do S turns only if like they are a medium distance fighter and won't let me push. But man, it's kind of hard, like to, in my opinion, to play in that range, just because like you get into like this scuff to like once you get past like 800 meters. All of a sudden, it's just like who can like, you know, I guess break the pip more, right?
Yeah.
So I just like to stay within 800 and kind of rely on aim.
Yeah,
But,
I literally
mean,
fight at
I'm not.
I fight at this distance. I'm literally trying to get as close to them as possible, because the closer you are, right, the harder it is for them to. So I think that's why we have different opinions about the rotational speeds. Because we fight at the different distances, and because I knife fight like this, they can't do anything other than back up to try and get me back on the nose again.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, people do that too, but yeah, I'm trying to pass people. Like, here, I can just show you if you want to do it without shooting, because I'm sure you'll fucking destroy me. All right.
Docking initiated. Docking denied. Landing gear raised.
That was nice, though.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Yo, I did cycle my mind. But yeah. What I was saying was like the same thing as you, is that it's like I don't like fighting in medium distance or in front of people because I don't like dancing in front of people.
Yeah.
It's just more interesting to push people, I think. It's more fun. Now, I don't think it's the better way to fight at the moment, but it's just more fun.
Well, that's the thing, though. What I like about the flight model right now is that different people have different fight styles. Right, and it's really interesting. Like this was a whole conversation I was having on stream yesterday. You can normally gauge somebody's flight style within like the first few seconds of a fight.
Yeah, most likely.
And then you have to try and work out how to defeat that, which I really like. Master modes makes me a little nervous.
Me too, actually.
Just because, you know, I've been playing this game for so long. I have my flight style, and I worry that it's just gonna force everybody into the same type of flying, which isn't necessarily going to be too interesting.
Yeah, totally. And like I don't like they're getting rid of tricording. I don't think that tricording necessarily needs to be like a pivotal part of PvP, but I just think that like, for example, it's like I just think that having a little bit of like know-how into like how like your engines work, I think is totally fair for like skill balance of the game. I don't think,
dude, honestly,
like,
when it comes to tricording, I think Salty Mike is a really good example. That first fight or flight that we did, he doesn't really tricord, or at least back then he wasn't tricording, and look how well he did, dude. Like that was him that most, you know, that got us through to the final. And
totally.
he was purely going off of his aim. Like his aim was just so good that everybody else was trying to dance around him. But obviously when you're maneuvering, you're scuffing up your target's pip, right? Whereas he wasn't doing that, and he was just concentrating on hitting the pip.
Right, which like obviously tricording is less effective in atmosphere too, right?
For sure, yeah.
It's like aim is king in atmosphere, I'd say.
Yeah, what I do in Atmo is I concentrate on the aim, and I concentrate on trying to get behind the target.
Yeah, and then like whenever I'm trying to shoot people, I'll try to slow down below SCM because I'm just trusting that they don't have enough nose authority to match my hits. Is what I'm trying to trust. Because most people don't even know you're not supposed to like 45 in atmosphere, right? They're still trying to do 45s. Yep. They're still trying to, you know, like not pitch into their shot, which is going to make their nose more wobbly. I mean, dude, and the Gladius, oh my God, don't even get me started. It's so bad. I'm surprised nobody's come for your bounty.
Dude, nobody hunts me anymore. I don't know why, but and this was something I was saying on stream yesterday. It's actually really disappointing because I'm literally flying around in an Aurora and I might see one bounty hunter every 2 weeks. That's it.
Do you think it's because it's you? Like, have you considered like jumping on an alt maybe?
No, I
'Cause
think a lot of
I
people have just
tend to get,
stopped
like,
bounty
way
hunting,
better
dude.
action. I ran into some guys 2 nights ago, and they're bounties that I've ran into before, and I asked them how bounty hunting was, and they were like, "Yeah, action's really good right now," is what they told me.
It's probably really good because it's less competitive, because I think there's less people doing it. I don't know. Like, whenever I've tried bounty hunting, I just get so frustrated because I spend like 30 minutes chasing somebody through Quantum only to have them log off, and I just find it demoralizing, which is just why I fly red.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I'm doing. Just chatting in space, baby.
Hell
I just sit
yeah.
here and talk to chat. That's all I do. I mean, look at this. I literally came to Microtech to say what's up to you.
Oh, dude, no way. That's sick.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Noodle. I was like, we should go check if he's in Microtech. And then there was some other person here that I thought might be with you. Their name was Spooter, Mr. Spooter.
Oh, no. You'd think I'd know
No,
that person, but no.
They were both. You guys were both here, so I figured.
Oh, maybe that's one of the people I killed, maybe. Because there were like 4 people here just before you showed up. Dude, I actually had an
Okay, they're
Andromeda,
gone.
right, with a turret gunner. And obviously I was staying on the opposite side of the turret, right? And all of a sudden, that one target turned into 2 targets. I was like, oh my god, he actually got in the fucking snub. Now, he died instantly in the snub. But it was just really cool to see somebody drop out in the snub.
Yeah, that's such a. If it was a Fury, would you have been a little scared?
No, it's
it's
funny,
really?
dude. I get razors and M50s every now and again. Like 2 days ago, I had 2 guys in razors come after me, and what I do, my flight style changes against like racing ships. I concentrate on the aim because it takes them a little bit longer to chew through my shields, and they're generally harder to hit, so I maneuver less and just concentrate on my aim and then just drive them off.
Yeah, that's so funny because I think I do the exact same thing. Like against small, nimble targets, even the arrow, like what I'll do typically is I'll stop maneuvering quite as much, and I really focus on like slowing down and hitting them.
Yeah.
Because I know because if you can hit your shots on those ships, they die, right? So
Yeah, once their shields are down, it like I don't even spray. Like I very often spray and pray just to deny shields. But with them, I don't even bother because I know once their shields are down, it really doesn't take much to kill them.
Here's what someone said in my stream. They said, yeah, Noodle is very well known. I've ignored their bounty before. So, I don't know. Just food for thought.
Maybe I'm just... I don't know.
I'm telling you, dude. I don't know if you've seen any of the YouTube videos I posted in the last, 6 months, but everything that I do is on an alt account because I don't get interactions like that on my main.
I should start flying on my alts more because, I have noticed that when I'm on my alt, I do get a little bit more action.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you'll get better content. I mean, I've thought about renaming my main, honestly.
Dude, I was thinking that recently, actually, but if I was going to rename, I don't want to lose the name Moist Noodle though, so I think, I'll probably I might rename my main and then just give Moist Noodle to one of my alts or something.
Alts, yeah. Yeah. You could honestly, CIG would probably do that for you if you message them.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, that's probably the way forward. I think.
If you bought it, is what I mean. I don't know if they'll do it for a favor.
Yeah. I mean, as long as I own the name, because you get, I think you get 1 free rename right on an account, which I've never used on this account. I've never used it on my alts, so I'm sure if I just message them and be like,
same on my main.
Because I wonder, the worry is, right, if I rename my main, they may lock out Moist Noodle for a while. I don't know how it works, because that's what they do with World of Warcraft. So,
right, that's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't want to be locked out of it.
Maybe do that with, that's what I'm saying. You can maybe do it with, messaging them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, now you're making me want to hop him on an alt. And the thing is, I love the Aurora MR. I genuinely think it's one of the best combat ships in the game. So that's all I need.
Well,
it's so much fun.
That's great. Yeah, I like I'm personally a fan of the LN, but yeah, I mean, even let's imagine I wanted to come fight you and Like, I saw your bounty, and I didn't want you to know it was me. Like, that would have been as organic as possible to get a 1v1 between us, right?
The funny thing is, after you jumped out, I literally said to my chat, I wish I'd been in the Aurora, because that would have actually been a really fun fight, I think.
Yeah, bro. I don't know how this thing handles an atmosphere. I think it's really bad.
The Aurora's a fucking brick,
probably.
dude. The Aurora
No, I
is
know, I
really
know.
bad in Atmo, so that's why I think it would have been a fun fight.
Yeah, probably, honestly.
The reason I don't bring the Aurora to Microtech in general is just because the atmosphere is so thick. Whenever I bring it here, I just get missile dumped, and then I die instantly. It's not too bad when I'm on moons, because the atmosphere, like, it doesn't take... Like, I just point my nose up and I get out of atmosphere real quick and let them chase me. But on Microtech, it's way too rough.
Yeah, I did a 0 to hero, like a hardcore one within Aurora. That was really tough. I was doing bounty hunting in the middle of it, and I did some ghost hauler runs. And man, there were a couple of times like decoys wouldn't go out, and it was sad times for sure.
Dude, I'm so angry about the state of
playing the game that way is so much more fun.
I'm so angry about the state of flaring right now, or countermeasures right now. It's just
decoys, you mean?
I find it so fucking frustrating. Like with the arrow, right? If you lose the top left wing, you lose all of your countermeasures, which absolutely sucks. So yeah, it's super frustrating when you just end up in this situation and you can't flare a missile. I have dumped every single flare that I have trying to lose a single missile before now in the Aurora. But what I find is if I do, you know how you can change the amount of flares that you drop? If I change it to 4 with the Aurora, it tends to work. Whereas if I drop one after the other, it doesn't. So I'm not quite sure like how
Do you think that's
they've...
because they're grouping up, or because of like the way that it's being dispersed?
I think the way that they've written it, the programmers, is when you send out a group, it sees it as a group. Whereas when you send out individual flares, obviously it's an individual. So the missile, like if you send out 4 individually, it just, I don't know. There's something really fucking scuffed going on. It's not just server performance. There's just something about countermeasures that's super scuffed right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think missiles need a complete rework. Like, I would personally love to see like guided missiles that work a certain way. I would love to see all sorts of like crazy missiles, like being able to fire 10 at once, like in the Shrike or something. Like stuff like that would be really cool. But I think to get that, I think they need to take missiles off of like 90% of the ships.
Well,
and make it like a special thing.
I
like
don't...
bringing an EMP, or make it where there is actual disadvantages to bringing missiles.
Yeah, absolutely. And that disadvantage should be your weight and your maneuverability, right? I don't want to turn this into a conversation about DCS, but, you know, that's the thing in DCS. You actually genuinely have to think about the job that you're trying to do and what loadout that you bring, because it will adjust the maneuverability of your aircraft. But at the same time, you have different types of missiles, right? You have, say, for example, AIM 120s, which you use for your, you know, you can fire them 30, 40 miles out, depending on, or maybe 50 miles, 60 miles, depending on the aircraft. But what it comes down to, and this is what I was about to say, is radar, because your missile gameplay ties into your radar. So I would really like to see missile gameplay in Star Citizen probably be tied into radar more, and I'd like to see the radar gameplay in Star Citizen just be a little bit more interesting than this magic 360 bubble where you see everything around you, right? Because then that would bring in AWACS gameplay into this game as well, where you could have something like the Terrapin, which has a stronger sensor or a stronger radar that can then feed information to fighters, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, honestly. Like, we need that play. And you know what the other thing we need on top of that that would pair so well with that is we need, I personally think, how point defense on a ship should work is someone mans it. And they have to, like, you know, essentially, they've got to, like, play the 3D bubble mini game where they can, like, use the point defense on certain areas and shoot missiles down. You know? Like, I feel like we need anti-torpedo gameplay bad.
For sure, dude.
Like, man,
I love...
One missile taking down a hammerhead's crazy.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think, like, the issue right now is I very often chase down missiles and shoot them down. but they teleport around like crazy, right? Which really doesn't help the situation.
Totally.
I think the speed change that they made to torpedoes, I say recently, like in the grand scheme of things, it feels like it was recently.
Yeah, it helps.
But that was a massive change. And I also, like, one of the big criticisms that I have of Star Citizen is how bad the audio design is. And the change to the audio for the torpedoes that they make, I don't even know if it was a change, but they sound so crackly and rumbly. You can hear them from a mile off. So, like, the moment somebody fires one around me, I know it's a torpedo. I know to swap my target to try and shoot the torpedo down. And yeah, I agree with you. I think, I don't know if they should maybe slow missiles down or something like that, but I love the idea of, you know, these larger ships like the Hammerhead realistically being able to defend themselves against torpedoes and missiles other than just flares.
Even interests and stuff in the future, right? Like,
sure.
Yeah, it just needs to be like hey, there's a size, and I said this a long time ago
Thank you,
in a Discord to Yogi, and he was like, that's a great idea, and then it just never happened. As I was like, there needs to be some sort of thing that's like prioritized at that target. You know, either you need to be able to swap between missiles or like payloads, or it needs to be like hey, if you don't shoot this down, you're gonna die. You know, like, because that's the job of the turret gunners.
Do you know how bad or how desperately I want to see flak in this game? Like, remember Battlestar Galactica?
Cool.
Those scenes where all of a sudden the flak cannons start firing and it's just a wall of fire? Dude, that shit was so cool. I don't know. I look forward to having more, like, missile defense other than just flares.
Yeah. No, totally agree. But it's like, we start talking about all this, and even with everything they showed at CitizenCon, the game still feels like, you know,
Can I ask you a question,
10
dude?
years off. Yeah.
Are you in the post-sitcom blues? Because I know I am. Like, I'm back to remembering what game we're playing, and now everything actually feels like it's super far away, and I'm trying to keep myself feeling positive, and I know I'm okay, but I'm definitely starting to feel the struggle a little bit.
To quote the great prophet Zero State, the worst part about coming home from CitizenCon is playing Star Citizen.
So true.
Well, it's like, you know, of course you want the gameplay we saw right now, right? But it's like, realistically, they said a year. So realistically, maybe 24 months.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Dude,
I'd be really happy if all that made it in 24.
I'm super excited for the new atmospheric flight model, dude. Like, as somebody who plays DCS, that to me is super friggin' exciting. And that will make dogfights way more interesting, I think.
You know what I think? I think that it's, you know, you were talking about doing like different kinds of flight styles and stuff. I really like this idea that in the future of master modes, we could potentially have this situation where there is someone in the game who is the best space dog pilot in the game, and there is someone who's the best atmospheric dog pilot in the game.
Dude. This is the thing that I've been saying on my stream. I think people who play DCS will have a huge advantage in Atmo when this new flight model comes out, because it's gonna be like flying DCS, and we already understand the concepts of one circle dogfights and two circle dogfights, and how to transition from one to the other depending on what aircraft you're fighting. Whereas a lot of people who only play Star Citizen have no idea what these things mean, right?
Hell, I don't even know what that means. Well, kind of, a little bit.
It's basically a rate fight, right? So you could end up with, like, say an F-16 versus an F-18. Now, the F-18 is slower than the F-16, but the F-18 has more nose authority, right? So it can turn tighter than the F-16. So in a one-circle dogfight, the F-18, so you're just going round in one circle, right? The F-18 will fuck up an F-16. But what the F-16 should do is try to force it into a two-circle dogfight. So it's like a circle next to a circle, right? Where you're kind of going inverted against each other. Basically, so the F-18 just can't get behind you, essentially. I know. I think it's gonna be super interesting. Hell, even the Avenger might do okay in Atmo. Who knows?
I mean, we've seen crazier things, right? You know, I don't know. Like, there's been patches, the Mustang Alpha has been meta, right?
Dude, I might start flying the Mustang a little bit more. Zal, my partner, she's actually the person that got me into flying the Aurora MR a lot more. And she's recently kind of transitioned over to the Mustang, so I might give it a go again.
Dude, this is blowing my mind. We've been sitting here for what, 20 minutes, and nobody has come to get your bounty.
Yeah,
That
dude,
is,
I'm not joking. Like,
kind of
nobody
wild
even
to me.
bothers. It makes me so sad. I'm definitely going to start using an alt, though, I think, after this conversation.
Yeah, I think you should just give it a try, you know?
For
You
sure,
should just
yeah.
give it a try, see how it goes. If it goes good, then cool. I just think, dude, I think we are going to be forced to, in the future of Star Citizen, at least to get organic gameplay. If I know some people, like, really, they produce basically 100% of their content through either PvE or their stream, and that makes a lot of sense for them. They don't have to change their name. But, like, if you're doing any kind of gameplay that revolves around PvP, unfortunately, I think you have to roll anonymously.
I think I've accepted the fact that when it comes to a character for streaming, I will never really be able to achieve, like, I don't think I'll be able to achieve, like, long-term goals with a character because of this reason. I kind of feel like I'm going to have to switch out, or at least switch out the name pretty regularly just so people don't recognize me too easily.
That's what I do. I swap my name when I feel like people are recognizing me. I swap, but on my, yeah, it just depends. But I typically swap like once a month.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably do the same thing.
Maybe you could go with damp pasta.
Well, dude, this is the thing. All of my alts are offshoots of Moist Noodle. So I have like, I'm not going to say the names, but it's like if it's something, like if it's a state and something pasta, then it's me.
Okay, all right.
Soggy spaghetti,
Liquid
for example.
linguine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, they're normally like my Italian cousins.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I typically just try to make like a, you know, D's nuts joke in my name. That's what I roll with. My other alt account right now has a very space dad name. It's Star Agent 86, I think is what it is.
Wow, dude.
And,
Does he fly an eclipse?
Yes, I know. Well, he does not fly an eclipse. But what I want people to think is he flies an A90 jump. You know, maybe he sips his coffee in the morning while he reads Spectrum.
Oh, that's nice, dude.
Is upset. He's outraged by the PTU changes. You know, this is the kind of person that Star Agent 87 is. Okay, wait. We actually have someone who's potentially... No, never mind. Just a big signature.
Dude, you know, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but back in the olden days, Retaliator pilots had a very special place in my heart. Because what they would do back then, Port Olisar had hard armistice. So what they would do is just poke their nose out of that armistice zone, fire their torpedo at you, and then just reverse back into the bubble. And that...
Yes.
Retaliator pilots slowly got replaced by like Eclipse pilots as being like the most cringiest pilots in Star Citizen, and I think it's slowly turning into F8 pilots for me.
Yeah, that's what I think. Especially when they're rocking like over 4 distortion weapons. Oof. Yeah. That's tough for me. But yeah, no, totally.
I think it's mainly because of the way they fly, dude. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but you get their shield to half and they run away.
And then they fly away, yeah. Exactly. I actually kind of miss... sorry, I don't know if I was talking there. I actually kind of miss the hunting eclipses down. Like, that was actually fun. Like, it was so satisfying to kill an eclipse back in the day.
Oh,
you don't
for
really have
sure,
that
dude.
with any ship these days. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you killed like... Maybe if you kill like an F8C and you don't have one, but it's just not the same.
It is super satisfying killing F8s with the Aurora. But the thing about like hunting down eclipses is, man, we need that radar rework, man. Like the whole stealth gameplay used to be so incredible in this game. Back in, oh my god, I'm going to sound really old now, but back in 3.4, I used to fly the Saber, right? A lot. And I would sit like 4 kilometers away from the original jump town and just turn my ship off. And then I would watch people fly down and they couldn't see me. It was so good, dude.
Yeah. That extended, I think that extended basically up until like 3.10.
Yeah, something
because
like
remember
that,
3.9 people, we were doing it on aerial with like prospectors, and we would bring the Hornet Ghost and we would like scout it out and like stay stealthy above the outpost.
Yeah.
And then they'd come land, and then they'd fill up, and then we'd, you know, hail them and be
But
like,
at the
all
same
right,
time,
pay up.
do you remember which patch? Maybe it was like 310, where we had that ridiculously huge radar range, and you could see like A2s like 40 kilometers away. And when all this,
I do remember
when
that.
all this drama around Morph was kicking off, and people were memeing on Morph because of the A2, like I was actually defending him at the time because my opinion was that like the issue with the A2 is the fact that you can't see it until it's too late. And back during that patch where you could see it 40 kilometers away, and you could see 890 jumps like 60 kilometers away, and that was the same patch where you could see the engines of like all ships, super like the Gladius. You still can with the Gladius, right? And that shit was so
Yeah,
good,
totally.
dude. They need to bring that back. And
They
stealth-
kind of brought that back a little bit with the lights,
I
right? Have you
love the
noticed?
lights, dude. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
that's so much better,
I
dude.
really like that. Yeah, I think they need to extend that to all ships. And the higher the signature, like IR probably, the farther you can see it away.
For sure,
like, is
dude.
probably what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even the Gladius, you can see from too far right now, right? But actually, I kind of love it. So maybe engine signature is like double what IR is. I don't know.
I think it
Just a
should.
thought.
If it's specifically a stealth ship, then for sure you probably shouldn't be able to like look at
Well-
if you physically look at like the engines on an F-22, right? They're designed in a very particular style.
Yeah, stealth ships could be different.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I want stealth to be a thing again, dude. Like I'm so desperate for it. And right now it's so weird, man, because like I will have people. I had somebody last night while I was playing off stream. They got somebody in a Cutlass Black got within 5 kilometers of me. I couldn't see them, and they just missile dumped me, and there was nothing I could do about it because they were so close to me, dude. It's ridiculous how scuffed it is.
True stealth would be amazing.
Yeah,
Our
it was
Metal
insane.
Gear
Yeah,
spaceships.
and then you know, you balance that with like, at one point you have the what is it, the Hornet Ghost being able to like dip in and out of like, it was something crazy like 1,000 meters, and you actually had to
Yeah.
use your eyeballs to see it. That was so cool in my opinion.
That is
like, remember
freaking
looking
awesome,
for
yeah.
engine trails?
Yep.
I remember looking for engine trails. It was so cool. And then
Even
you could,
now,
like-
you still kind of have to with eclipses. Once they're over like
Yeah,
3,
sometimes,
4
yeah.
kilometers from you, you have to look for the engine trail. But it's the fact that it's just the one ship, right? Like I want to see all stealth ships be like this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Actually, Zal just
don't
said
know,
in my
dude.
chat, like, she reminded me of something that happened last week. A Rogue Wyvern was flying an Inferno, and we didn't see him until he was within 600 meters of it. It was so stupid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they did patch to fix that, but the Cyclone is now detectable from 2,000 meters away.
Yeah, I noticed that
So,
yesterday, actually. Yeah, I
broke
could see one
something.
from... Yeah, I like not being able to see the ground vehicles until you're pretty much on top of them.
Agreed.
It makes
Yeah.
those vehicles way more viable.
Yeah, it makes them more viable, and they have to be in a game that's like air superiority or like space superiority, whatever, however you want to say it.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
It's, yeah, like I have no problem with like anti-air, like ballista being super strong. That
Yeah,
it
yeah.
actually like, I think it's really cool when someone's using a ballista, but the problem is ballista sucks ass right now.
Well,
At
the
least,
thing
like, in
is,
my experience.
all those vehicles are like dogs in that they can't look up. So if you can get above them, they're screwed. But then if you have 2
Totally.
or 3 working together to like triangulate an area, that is the play, right? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, even the Centurion can be really strong for that, right?
Oh, for
Like
sure,
2
dude.
Centurions and a ballista,
Hell
especially
yeah.
like on atmosphere. Because
Yep.
like, yeah, the A or the A2 might be able to drop a bomb on you, but he's dying too, for sure. Like, there's no world where he gets away in time. So
Yeah, I've had a couple of situations where at Jump Town, like New Jump Town, we've gone to bring in an A2 and then we didn't realize there was a ballista on the ground. But dude, I tell you what I can't wait for. The friggin' what is it? Not the Venture, the friggin' missile, not the rearming ship that's coming to SC. Like, that's going to be so much better for those ground vehicles, because right now, like, taking those vehicles to a location like the Vulcan, yeah, Taking those vehicles to somewhere like Jumptown and then using your missiles is such a friggin' chore to then reload them into a ship and take them to an outpost to rearm them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, same thing with like ballistic fighters, right? Like that's gonna be so much cooler when you actually have to like have a logistics person on site, like refilling, especially for like,
Dude.
especially if it could give you like a big advantage. I don't know.
Do you know how
That'd be
much
cool.
I love running roles like that? Like the SRV, I'm so happy the SRV is in game now because I will, you know, when we're in pirating operations, I'll happily fly the SRV. And yeah, the Vulcan, like that's a ship I'll happily fly into combat because you're gonna need somebody good. Because you know, if I'm in an arrow and I see a Vulcan, I'm gonna go straight for that friggin' Vulcan. You know, gotta be able to stay alive.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Which is why it's probably going to be a perimeter ship and not like a battlefield ship. But
Do you fly Mantis
I
much?
mean, I don't know. Maybe. Do I? No, dude. I haven't been in a Mantis in a long time.
Dude,
but you know what
it's
I
so
do
good,
fly
man.
is I fly the Cutlass Blue.
I love the Cutlass Blue. It's actually you flying the
Me
Cutlass
too.
Blue that kind of got me into flying the Cutlass Blue more. But I've definitely been
Oh, really?
flying. Yeah, they beefed up the engines on the Mantis recently, so it can actually withstand missiles and not lose its engines, which is
nice.
really nice. Yeah, and it's so maneuverable, dude. Like if you know how to like S-turn and stuff, no one will friggin' hit you.
Yeah, yeah. I think you know him. Probably the guy who does the most Mantis work for me. His name is D-Rack.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And he was doing platinum ticket stuff with me. And at one point we had a Mantis up, and he was up for like 2 hours snaring the location. And yeah, he's like probably one of the better Mantis pilots I know. But
I
there's a lot of good
struggle.
ones.
Yeah, I struggle because I don't always want to be flying the Mantis, but out of my group of friends, like I'm the only one that ever wants to fly the Mantis. But there's a guy in the blue buckets called Coastin, and he's a human aimbot, dude. If you ever see him in FPS, like just run away. I've never seen anyone aim like him. Like he will be glued to your head. It's just ridiculous. But he's
That's
recently
crazy.
been trying to get better at dogfighting. And I let him fly my Mantis last night, and he fell in love with the Mantis, dude. So I might actually have somebody to follow me around with the Mantis finally. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, no, it's definitely a game changer, but it's definitely really fun to like kind of fly the edge with the blue and like try to keep people in while also trying to kill them. That's really
For
fun to me.
sure. I mean, you
but-
still have to do that with the Mantis, dude, because you can't use
Yeah.
the snare near outposts. You can't use the snare near stations. Like, the only time you can use the snare is obviously if you're trying to pull people out of Quantum. And if you catch them, it just randomly in space, you catch them at an OM or something like that. So,
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to stay within that 2 clicks with the Mantis, obviously, just
You're-
because it handles like a mix between like a light and a medium fighter.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like the reason why I'm not using the blue right now is because the hull is bugged and I feel bad about using it, to be honest.
Dude, is it actually bugged, or was that an intentional change?
Yeah, it
'Cause-
just doesn't take. It just. Oh no, it just doesn't take damage.
Okay, because I thought they had basically done the same thing as they have done with like the 890 and with the Carrack, where now you have to get 2 segments of the ship to 0 health rather than just 1. Because that's what I've noticed, that you can be chasing them, and
let me
then
ask you-
once you've got the rear red, they'll take a little bit more damage, and then that you'll notice that rear section doesn't take damage anymore. It doesn't flash, and then you have to shoot the front.
I have had issues also taking down NPC cutlasses, but if I shoot only their cockpit, they explode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. That kind of
So I
takes me
think
back
it's
to like the
unintended.
days of 3.4 when you could cockpit snipe people out of their cockpits.
Dude, you can still do that with
Wait, what?
missiles right now.
Really?
Yeah, if you missile people every once in a while, they'll die. I've done it to the NPC
No
Idris.
way.
I've done it to other players. It's happened to me. Like, yeah, you get missiled and it like connects. Sometimes if it hits you dead on, it will just kill you.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't actually. If you look at my arrow, you'll notice I don't actually run missiles just to try and drop off some of the weight. Maybe I should stick them back on again.
Yeah, maybe.
They're kind of
maybe.
useful for shooting F8s that are running. I don't know if you noticed, but what are the friggin' not Thunderbolts? What are the size 1 EMs? Shoot, I can't remember what they're called anymore. But F8s.
Oh, Pioneers or
No, the other task forces.
Are you talking about the task force?
Yeah. I don't think F8s cannot evade task forces, dude. Like every single one hits every time. It's ridiculous.
Really? Yeah, EMs are just so nasty at the moment. I don't really know why they're so much better, because typically a lot of these ships have higher IR, right?
For sure, yeah.
Not the F8C though. Not the F8C.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't know is the missile tracking is like quite literally dynamic, to the point where like if you are shooting a cross-section missile on someone's flat part of their ship, you'll actually do have a better track than if they're facing you like flat, like you are right
Dude,
now.
I didn't know that. That's actually sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some testing with Papa Sweep, if you can believe it. It's a cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've flown with Papa.
And yeah, so a couple of things we noticed: if your engines were pointed like out, IR tracked better than if engines were pointed away from the missile. And also, yeah, like I said, with the cross section, and then with EM, I don't know if this works anymore. Here, let me try. Yeah, you can instantly power off your shields to drop some EM, which, you know, works a little bit, but
yeah, for sure.
Then it's like you get more for, but it used to be a lot. Like you got a big reduction for turning off your shields.
So
Not as big anymore.
I wonder if more boosting and more weapon fire would affect tracking with IR missiles then.
I don't think so, because you can test this right now. If you boost right now, your IR just barely goes up. Like just the little bit bittiest. But if you spool your quantum, it goes up a lot, like double.
Yeah, see, this is a whole thing with like DCS World. When you're in that 1 circle or 2 circle dogfight, and you're using guns and IR missiles, you actually genuinely have to think about how much you're boosting. Because if you're just constantly boosting and somebody throws an IR missile at you, your flares are less reliable, right? Which is like, I'd love to see something like that in. This is what I'm talking about. We're like, we need such a huge rework of missiles, dude. And it's not just the missiles, right? It's things like the IR, how IR works for the ships. It's radar. It's everything.
Right. So it's like, for me, what I would like to see is actually what we just talked about. So with EM, it's like someone shoots an EM missile at you. You power off your weapons, your shields, and I don't know, maybe even your ship. It locked you at 20,000, right, was your signature, and now you're down to 8,000. Well, it's just going to go somewhere else, because that's not the same signature anymore. So
for sure, yeah.
I would love to be able to see you like shake stuff off like that. But maybe that's not CIG's vision.
I hope that's what we get.
Same, right? You power off engines. Like, there could be so many cool things.
I think it's so tough for them, because obviously people like me and you want depth, right? But at the same time, they don't want to make it so complicated that it's too hard for people who are maybe not that into dogfighting. It's things like the power triangle, right? Like, I freaking hate, like, when we got the new power triangle, right? I loved it. And then I very quickly realized that dogfighting just has turned into micromanagement of the power triangle, which kind of, well, if you're in light and medium fighters, which kind of drives me mad a little bit. And I don't know. I definitely want to see that stuff. I think they just need to be careful about how they do it.
Yeah. Confirmed. It's just how CIG implements it, just like everything else. It's like, dude, it's like literally we were just having this long conversation right before I rolled up to you about CIG implementing AI and like turret blades, and how like that's going to be like such a nightmare if they implement it wrong. Because everyone always assumes it's going to help solo players the most, but that's just not true. You know?
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm nervous about blades, dude.
Whatever you do to help solo players, orgs get that advantage times 10. You know?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, they always said when it comes to like blades and AI, it's a nice to have, but it will never be as good as replacing a human, right? And I hope they actually stick with that.
That's how it should be. Here's what I think, okay? Maybe hot take here. You ready? AI blade when it's plugged in, 20% accuracy on the turret. Or you can have someone who has permissions on that ship remote into the turret from like their Moby glass or something. Maybe they have to be in the same system is like the prerogative.
That would be interesting.
Or sorry,
actually,
the parameters. But like, boom, now you actually are requiring a human to be on board. I don't know if like that could be too cheesy, but in my opinion, much better system than just giving like AI blades really good aim.
I think the problem with that, like, it's an interesting idea. I think the problem with that, though, is that it might screw big group fights because people will, like, one of the... oh, a freaking NPC bounty hunter just sent up. One of the things that we were talking about earlier, right, is that we size up our targets within the first few seconds. Well, it's the same thing with, like, a hammerhead, right? You size up how many turrets they have or what... oh, one sec. Little shit. Little shit.
Target destroyed.
That son of a biscuit hit me with a missile.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Oh, man.
It was an IR missile, too. That's embarrassing. Yeah,
Incredibly rude.
I worry that it might be a little bit too difficult because... obviously you size up your target within the first few seconds. You're going to be able to work out if they have blades, right? And if they could suddenly just take like 6 people, right, and then just remote into those turrets, I don't know, I feel like like,
yeah,
like think about it. You say you have like 6 capital ships versus 6 capital ships, right? And you've kind of you've already kind of worked out your tactics because you have an idea of who's loaded out in what way. Yeah, I worry it could be too dynamic in the moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point that I didn't think about. I guess I just yeah, I don't know. Someone in chat said they're probably going to implement blades as part of the capacity.
Can somebody tell Berks I just crashed a desktop? Oh no, dude! I don't think I've ever had a bad thing happen to me.
AI blades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking about AI blades, I think. But yeah, NPC crews are a little bit different, right? Because they don't take processing power. So how do you balance that? What I said was, you know, maybe give them death of the spaceman treatment. If they die 10 times, they're gone forever, or something like that.
Yeah, well, the thing that Chris was asked about this on 10 for the Chairman about 1,000 years ago, and it's one of the things that stuck in my head. And to all the people who think they're going to be running a Javelin full of AI crew, right? He said on 10 for the Chairman that you will have to micromanage your relationship with each of your NPC crew members. So it just won't be feasible. Like, technically, sure, you could have like maybe 100 crew or whatever, but you know, after a few hours, they'll be freaking sick of you. I think it makes a
lot more sense. Yeah, I think it makes a lot more sense for someone to have like maybe an NPC or 2 versus having, you know,
sure, dude.
And I mean, Jared said a while back, they were talking about like running a Javelin solo. And he said you could do it, but it would take you 80 hours a week.
Yeah, I personally, I'm not a fan of the idea of, like, one of the things that got me into Star Citizen, and again, this was something I talked about in my chat earlier. I was watching a documentary about Star Wars Galaxies last night, and like jump to light speed and all that jazz. And one of the things that I always loved about that game was the idea of running a crew on a ship, right? And I always loved the idea of having a crew, you know, having an engineer, having gunners, etc., and I just worry that having NPCs to crew will just kind of wipe that away, you know, if everyone just, rather than having 2 people in Cutlass, like 2 people in one Cutlass, right? Those 2 people instead go, okay, I'll get an NPC to go in my turret, you get an NPC to go in your turret.
Right.
And it's, I don't know.
This is what I talk about, right? I've always said, like, this is why I'm okay with the Hurricane being so strong. Because, like, the truth is, I mean, laughs in F8C, right? But the truth of the matter is the strongest thing in the game should be people getting into a ship together and owning, right?
100%, dude.
Like,
I've always been of the mindset that 2 people in one ship should be as much of a challenge as 2 people in single seat fighters, right? Now, obviously, it's a little bit different when you have 2 people in 2 different positions. You know, well, I don't know if you remember.
On top and on bottom.
I don't remember. I don't know if you remember the fight with me and Zell. So basically, Galag Hero messaged me and he was like, dude, I'm on the ground. I think it was Jumptown or something. And there's people in the air. I need help. So me and Zell rocked up. I was in my Arrow and Zelrin was in her Aurora Emma. And you were in a Hurricane with a turret gunner with a bunch of other people around as well. And I think me and Zell made you jump out in the Hurricane like 5 times. No, sorry, I was in the Hornet. Okay, so that was a little unfair. But like the way that me and Zell fight,
Yeah, Hornet's
right?
hard to fight.
The way that we fight Hurricanes and Scorpiuses is whoever is the primary target of the Hurricane just, you know, sits back and dances, and then the other person shoots the Hurricane in the ass, and then when the target's swapped, we just swap, right?
Yeah, that's the only way to fight a Hurricane, in my opinion. Like, especially if they're good. That's the only way to fight it.
So I don't find it that difficult fighting average pilots in the Hurricane because it's so easy to cheese the turret. But yeah, if it's a good pilot who can keep like close to you, yeah, it's super challenging. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the main thing.
Unfortunately, if it's just an average person, all you have to do is get to 1100 meters range and then just do a slow roll and the turret can't hit you, which is so sad.
Yeah. And you can get on top of them too, depending on what ship you're in. But the thing is, if that pilot knows how to roll, like all they have to do is keep that turret like on your side, and like boom, you know, you're dead. And so it's like it really just depends on the pilot. But yeah, good pilot, yeah, you gotta hit and run, or like say do what you're saying is like bait and shoot. So
yeah, for sure.
But again, it's like I have no issue with the Hurricane. It's still really strong. You have to. I think what you're saying is a valid strategy, but you still have to play that strategy perfectly.
Oh, you have to be smart because the thing is, there's so much firepower coming out of the Hurricane. If you fuck up once, you're dead. Like, you have to be on your toes the entire fight. You especially have to pay attention to them swapping target, because if you don't, all it takes is like 4 or 5 seconds of sustained firepower and you're done.
Yeah, basically. Dude, I cannot believe we've been sitting here for like 35 minutes.
Dude, I CTD'd and nobody turned up.
Nobody, dude. That is so crazy. Yeah, I think you got to try the alt. I think that's the play.
I think you're right. Like, I sit here all day, every day. I'm like, where the hell are the bounty hunters, dude?
One that I like using, thing is, I like choosing Space Dad names because people will take those thinking that they're not scary.
That's actually quite smart, yeah.
You get more action. Yeah, that's why I think Star Agent 83 is such a good one.
I might use a name like Lethal Killer 69 or something. Those ones are good.
That's a good one. Even like if you throw an 80, like a 80 or a 70 number in there, it's like I think that people
like the year.
Yes.
Lethal
so
Killer
like,
1968. There we go.
Yeah, 68 exactly. They think it's like, oh, this guy's just like a for fun casual dad pilot, and then like you roll in with the moves and give him the juice.
I like to when I'm first sizing people up, I'll just sit in front of them and wiggle and just see how many shots they actually land on me. And sometimes I find that once I've been wriggling for like 10 seconds, they just leave. Once
oh my God,
do we
actually have a bounty hunter? No.
Oh, God damn it. It was a white mantis. I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't know what that was. Literally, on my screen, it was a blue mantis, and it had no pilot, and then it was like zooming past us.
Keep your head on a swivel, dude, because somebody might be memeing.
Someone's got a rail gun. Yeah. Probably D-Rack, honestly.
They've got somebody on the friggin' elevator with a railgun. Hell yeah.
I swear, that's got to be it. But
I can't wait for an eclipse to turn up and fire a torpedo at me. So I spend 10 minutes just slowly sliding to the side to evade the missile. Dude, I might go and swap to an alt.
an alt? Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah.
You should do it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you get any like good action and you want some help, let me know.
Oh, I will, dude. Dude, this has been a fun chat. This has given me some content for like 45 minutes or something.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'll even show up in the stalker, so it'll be fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cool. Yeah, let me know.
All right, dude.
All right.
I'll speak
Good
to you
luck.
later.
Have
Bye-bye.
fun. It was fun chat.
Bye.
Bye.
Dude. I'm glad I didn't kill him, though.
So across